Hello and welcome to the next episode of She Runs the Business podcast. Today we have an amazing guest, Ivona Folda, who is a founder of Creative Switzerland. She's also a LinkedIn powerhouse. She has a LinkedIn newsletter with over 22,000 subscribers. And today she's going to share her knowledge and expertise how to build a LinkedIn newsletter and get a lot of subscribers. Ivona, thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored to have you on my show.
Nina, thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
So, Ivona, before we dive into LinkedIn strategies, I really want to know who you are as a person and why did you choose LinkedIn to grow your business there? Because LinkedIn is often very neglected platform. A lot of people choose Instagram and Facebook. Why did you choose LinkedIn to grow your audience?
Thank you for the question, Nina. So first of all, I'm Ivona Folda. I'm based in Switzerland. I'm originally from Poland. I call myself and I consider myself to be a global citizen. I really love communications, intercultural communications, different cultures, exploring, and anything related to creativity. So for me, creating things, it can be product, services, writing about different topics is such a, I would say, zone of genius for me. I just love anything related to creation. I also love to co-create things with other people. It can be, again, events, it can be writing something together. It can be just supporting each other on our journeys. And you asked me about LinkedIn. I can tell you that for me, it came really naturally to be on LinkedIn. I think that's one of the most professional platforms so far when it comes to social media. And I wouldn't say that about other platforms, by the way. But for me, LinkedIn is the most professional platform. And I decided to focus more on that because I saw also that my content resonates with people. And even though very often it's not visible, but people write to me private messages. And that's for me kind of the feedback or the proof that what I'm doing resonates with people and people also get value out of my work. That's why I decided to mostly focus on LinkedIn. I'm also on the other platforms, but for me, LinkedIn is the most important platform so far.
So, what really motivated you to start LinkedIn newsletter?
It's such a personal, also a very important story. You know, when I started over 2 years ago, I was actually in the middle of health and personal crisis. And I got sick with COVID and I just was sick for a very long time, for over 10 months. But at the time, it was, I think, the third or the second month when I got sick. And I tried to navigate this crisis, not really knowing what is happening, by the way. I had like a really crazy brain fog. And thankfully, I also had this moments of inspiration, moments of creative spark when I thought like, okay, I have this idea. I feel like I should just write about this. And that's what I did. I just wrote like short stories and I started to post them on LinkedIn as a newsletter, Creative Bites. And I can tell you, because that was one of the only things I could do that at the time, I just really didn't bother about, SEO or strategies or anything else. I just wanted to write something and put it out there. And that was everything. And that's what I did. And I did it almost every week for right now over 2 years. And what surprised me was that it really resonated with people. And I cannot tell you really the secret because, again, I didn't follow any specific strategy. But what I followed, and I believe what is the secret really behind this, is that I really wrote from my heart. I really wrote, about the things that were on my heart and were important to me at that time. I wrote about transformation and healing and creativity and leadership and all of the different experiences that I had. And at some point, I also wrote about my journey of going through long COVID and how much it impacted me personally, but also professionally, because I just didn't work for almost a year. And it resonated so much with people that I got personal messages saying like, I'm so grateful that you mentioned that because no one talks about this. And for me, the secret and in general, the main thing was like to continue writing from my heart, to continue writing about the things that matter to me, that are important, that might be important for other people, but really to come from the foundation of that's important. I see the value in here. And let's see if it resonates. And of course, at the time, I just didn't expect it would resonate with anyone at all. It was just like yet another creative experiment. And I have been running creative experiments for years. So that was yet another creative experiment. If it's working, perfect. If it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter. And little did I know at that time that it really will resonate with people, and I will have at some point, over 20,000 subscribers and readers from all around the world approaching me also with personal messages. And yeah, that's how it started to me. So it really started out of a personal and health crisis, and it developed into, for me personally, an empowerment platform, because I wrote that mostly for myself, really. And I just didn't expect that it would also resonate with so many people, but it did. And I'm grateful for that, because it was for me also a part of a healing process to be able to express myself freely without feeling any attachments or any expectations from the outside world.
You mentioned here something very important that I want to emphasize is that you wrote from your heart and you wrote your personal stories. And this is how we connect with people. The power is in stories. And very often people neglect their personal experience and think, oh my God, I have nothing important to say. But very often your personal experience, your story you're going to share is going to change somebody's life and it's going to influence other people. Even though you don't know that person on the other side of the world, it can really change their lives. And I really love what you mentioned, that just write from your heart and share your personal experience. And that's something that really often happens on LinkedIn. People, you also mentioned this, like not a lot of people commenting on LinkedIn, but you get a lot of personal messages about your topics, about your post, and about your stories, what you share there. And I think that's something that is very unique for LinkedIn, because people on Facebook, on Instagram share their opinions, comment, and but on LinkedIn, people are more careful because HR is watching, HR is reading posts, and they really don't want to share anything personal because they don't want to come across as vulnerable, as somebody who can be hurt by another person. And that's why when you write your message, you will not get a lot of likes and comments, but you will get a lot of engagements in DMs, and which is also very important because it fosters personal relationships with people. I want to ask you about topics and themes for your LinkedIn newsletter. How do you choose themes and topics for the newsletter? Do you have any strategy for that?
So it comes very naturally to me, actually. To the main idea behind Creative Bites newsletter is I share stories about creativity, entrepreneurship, and communications, and that's kind of the overarching idea behind the newsletter. But the stories really vary from new technologies like AI and influence on education, for example, because education is one of my really favorite topics in the world. From business experiences to personal transformative experiences, attending different workshops that sparked the inspiration or really moved something in my life. Really everything. Recently, I attended AI for Good Summit, and I wrote also a newsletter on that on LinkedIn. Really resonated with lots of people because, again, we have this huge technology kind of overflowing the whole world right now, and yet there's so little understanding on that. So I feel like I write about things that are really happening at the moment, in a way that I know that something is happening, and I get this idea. Okay, that's the topic for this week, or that's the story that actually just kind of is in my mind. I would love to share that, and that's what I actually learned already a while ago. Kind of to catch the moments when they're arriving, catch the moments of inspiration and creativity, and I very seldom really strategize about the topics. It's more about, for me, the inspiration and the story that is actually in my mind right now. But I do have a kind of, sometimes I know what I have been writing about for the last 2 years. So I have the layout of what has been already there, and I try not to repeat myself, if you wish. But other than that, everything is very fluid. And that's how I perceive also life in general. It's very fluid, and with trust and creativity, we can really make things happen.
So you mentioned something very important here, and I want to emphasize that as well, because you mentioned that you watch trends and then actually market trends, new AI things, and then what is happening in the world, and you bring your personal perspective on the story. That's really, really powerful way to really grow your audience, really using trends and give your personal opinion because it's trending right now and everybody is into that topic.
Just a comment on that. That's correct. You are so right, Nina. It is a trending topic. AI it's really a trending topic these days, but also other new technologies, not just AI. And it's so surprising to see that most of the people have no idea. It is a trending topic in the media, but when you ask people specifically about their opinion or the knowledge or whatever around, for example, AI, very often they have no idea. They just know that it's a buzzing word and everyone talks about this. So I feel like we also need to allow people to be present with these topics, just to say, I don't know, people. Like, I have no idea about this. Could someone please explain to me how it works, or what are the implications of AI, or what are the implications of any new technology that is coming in right now? So I feel like, yes, it's a buzzing topic, but still, most of the people just don't know much about this particular topic. And I feel I didn't realize it for a very long time. I just had no idea. But right now I know this. That's why for me I know that when I write about something like AI and my perspective on AI or my perspective on other topics, there will be people who will just learn from that specific topic because otherwise they just don't get they're just not informed enough about this particular topic.
I want to talk a little bit about consistency and staying consistent with your content, because you mentioned you have been publishing this content for 2 years. How do you stay consistent? And you mentioned that you didn't miss a time to publish. Can you share more about that?
Yes, I feel like everything comes to discipline at the end of the day. If we are passionate about something or really enjoy doing something, I do really enjoy writing, just to make it clear, despite of the AI being everything. And I know I can ask ChatGPT to write things for me. I really write these things, and I enjoy sharing them. But for me, the discipline is a natural kind of part of my business in general, because I know that if I don't do these things, if I don't make them happen, they will not happen. There's no one here sitting and telling me I should do something, or I don't have a team that will take over if needed. So it's definitely that's discipline, but also for me personally, as I mentioned before, the whole writing journey, or allowing myself to write and publish that without expectations, or really not bothering at all about what people will think of these things, that has been a part of my healing process. And I enjoyed it so much because I know that each time I express myself freely, I can heal part of myself that, hasn't been healed yet. And for me, the part of posting regularly is just that's not really a big deal. It's just happening. And yes, I try to be with each week online with the new creative bite, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So, I will write later, I will write, the next week. So I don't have this very strict rule that it has to happen every day, like every week on Tuesday at 12. But I know that when the inspiration comes, when the ideas are on the table, then it's time for me to write.
I love what you explained is actually being in flow with your words and using it to heal yourself, not to really, not to focus so much on the outcome, mostly focus on the healing and expressing yourself freely and being who you are. And that's really something that definitely resonates with your audience. I want to talk a little bit about strategies to grow audience on LinkedIn and also grow audience for your LinkedIn newsletter. Can you share more strategies what you use?
I don't have much strategies. I can tell you a little bit of the techniques I'm using. So the main strategy, if you will, is that to be consistent. That's the main strategy. It can be consistent every week. It can be consistent every second week. It can be consistent whatever you please. But the main strategy for me is to, first of all, be consistent. Second of all, write from the heart. So write about things that really matter to me at this particular moment. Share from the perspective of love and gratitude and, kind of freedom of expressing myself, because I'm also aware that not everyone in this world has these rights. And then using kind of technical tips would be using specific hashtags, making sure that the content, what I'm writing, really makes sense, also grammatically, and when it comes to syntax or the flow of the thought. That's definitely a huge part. Making sure, what I usually also do is that at the end of the newsletter, I have a few offers from myself or from my, network about different things happening. It can be events, it can be different offers in general. So I also love kind of cross-pollinating different offers on my in my newsletter. But other than that, not really much, not really. I feel like I can tell you how it works for me, because I know that it doesn't work for everyone else. For many people this way, as it works for me, is that I just have this thought or this inspiration. I just write. And for me, writing is a pleasure. It comes very naturally. I don't need to sit for 12 hours and research a topic and then think of what I need to write. I just have an idea. It takes me 15 minutes to write it down, and it takes me another 15 minutes to create everything else around this together with digital art for each piece. And that's everything. And I know that for many people, that's not the case. I know that many people need to sit down and research and do other stuff to make this happen. But what I usually suggest in this case is that try to just go with the flow on this, because maybe, first of all, maybe writing is not your zone of genius. It's not your superpower. Maybe there's something else. Maybe recording videos is your superpower. Then please do so. What I observe is that also, when I work with different people, is that they force themselves to do something that doesn't come to them naturally. And I actually discourage people to do so. We should go with things that come to us naturally. So for me, writing comes naturally, speaking comes naturally. But I can tell you, I am very bad at programming. So if you would ask me to program, like software these days, I would tell you, thank you, Nina, but that's not my superpower. I'm just very bad at this. And the same applies to creating content. Maybe, creating pictures is your superpower. I create digital art and I really enjoy it. Maybe creating other, forms of art is your superpower. Maybe that's something what you should create to talk about your business, to talk about your ideas. So I feel like everything what we create, we don't need to have specifically like a great strategy and sit like for 2 days to create just a strategy and then, very specifically design everything and then post it. What we should do more of, I believe, is to create out of our hearts and create with a joy and create based on the natural abilities that we already have. And that's actually, I believe, what really helped me over the last years to continue creating very effortlessly and to continue creating things that I believe matter and they matter to other people as well. So I believe what we should do, maybe that's to summarize it, would be to change a little bit the narrative.
Do you have any strategies to promote your newsletter to get more subscribers, and like how do you get subscribers?
So mostly subscribers come also naturally. So first of all, when you create a newsletter on LinkedIn, is that you can invite all of your connections to be part of the newsletter. And that comes automatically. Basically, you can click the box and each of your connections can be can subscribe to this newsletter. But clearly, I have much more newsletter subscribers right now than I have connections on LinkedIn, actually twice as much. That means that people came from different corners. And what I believe, but that's just as an assumption, what I believe really helps are the hashtags. And I know not many people believe in hashtags, but I do. And what helps really being consistent with the hashtags and making sure that they're there when you publish the newsletter, they're there when you publish the post about the newsletter. So under the post, there are also hashtags. There, basically LinkedIn can be considered also a search machine, or search engine. And many people surprisingly actually search for different people on different things on LinkedIn. It can be hashtags, it can be topics, and they can find them much easier when the hashtags are there.
You mentioned something very important here, that LinkedIn is search engine, and that's why keywords we use matter and hashtags we use matter. Can you explain what exactly is search engine and why it's so important to create content that really has important keywords for your industry and for your business?
So all of the social media, actually, not just LinkedIn, all of the social media actually work as search engines so far. You can basically, let's say, Google everything everywhere. It works like Google, but the platform is just different. So basically you can ask a question, but the most efficient way of finding anything important to you on LinkedIn is just searching for, let's say, creativity. And then you have all of the different posts related to creativity in all of the different people. So you can connect with them. You can you can comment on their posts if something resonates with you. And I believe for me, it's important because long term, what I observe, that's the strategy for all of the different social media channels or platforms. is that they become search engines. So instead of going to Google and Google how to do something, you will go, and people are doing that actually, you will go on LinkedIn and search that on LinkedIn or on YouTube. It happens with YouTube as well. And that's actually a huge thing, because this way we know we ourselves, we can find people or find content that resonates with us, for example, related to creativity or entrepreneurship or communications or whatever resonates with you. We can connect with them directly and start conversations with, which by the way is very important when you run a business. It's for me, over the last years, that's exactly how my business works. I got clients directly from LinkedIn because we connected or because something resonated with them that I wrote about. And the other part is that I feel like LinkedIn still is a platform that you can really make this happen on. I'm not sure about Facebook and Instagram. I feel like both of them are extremely, they are based mostly more on paid advertisement, not any longer on the organic approach for the platform. But on LinkedIn, you still can make this happen with organic approach.
I agree with you. I love LinkedIn, and many people don't know about this, but I grew email list for my healing business on LinkedIn. And it sounds like, oh my God, how can you do that? But these are professionals. Yeah, they still need help. And they will not talk to you openly. They will DM you and send messages, and this is how we start conversation. But the large majority of my healing list, like even newsletter list for my healing business, was from LinkedIn. And I agree with you that you can grow on LinkedIn organically, and it really doesn't take a lot of effort. Actually, if I think about my LinkedIn profile, I grew, I don't know, 25 new followers, and I posted just one single post, and that was it. And on Facebook, it would take a lot of posts to get 25 followers for my page. And this is why I also love LinkedIn a lot. And I want to talk a little bit about hashtags and keywords. How exactly do you do research for hashtags and keywords that you use in your blog posts or generally post?
So that's actually very easy because, as I mentioned, LinkedIn is a search engine at the end. So in the search box, you are just clicking on, let's say you're writing hashtag creativity, and then you have, first of all, you have the number of people who follow these hashtags, which is very interesting always to see, okay, there are like millions and millions of people following hashtag creativity. That means that, in their feed, everything that is related to creativity comes probably, as one of the first. Algorithms just push the content up there so they can see it. So that's the easiest way. Very often, what you see also with the numbers, so you see, let's say, whatever random hashtag you would like to use, and there's like no one following that, I wouldn't use it because it's a waste of hashtag, if you wish, or waste of your space in your content. But I would use hashtags that can resonate with people, but also that are already there on LinkedIn. And sometimes I just also experiment. So sometimes I would use hashtags that don't exist just to see if there's any resonance, for example.
Thank you so much. And you mentioned that you love using AI to create images. Can you talk a little bit about that? What kind of software you use to create images, and tell us more about that.
Oh, of course. Thank you for this question. So I started to create AI generated images because I searched for images for my LinkedIn newsletter, actually. And I just realized that the stock images or any other images, they're just not very, let's say, beautiful. At least it doesn't fit into my beauty taste, if you wish. And I felt like, but how about I would just play around with different AI tools and just see what is working, what is not working. And I came across at that time Midjourney, which is really a great design tool, or AI generative image generate tool, which I loved because the images, like each time I created something, it was just like, oh my goodness, it's just so beautiful. And the other part is the other one that I'm using is basically OpenAI ChatGPT. You can basically ask ChatGPT to create different images. But what happened with that, and I feel like that's very important to emphasize as well here, is that regardless of the tool you are using, I feel like because I run, as I mentioned, this newsletter as a creative experiment, I didn't expect anything out of this. What happened actually was that the results out of this were much more higher than I would have ever imagined in general if I would have imagined the results. And with the AI generated pictures, someone actually on LinkedIn called me, hey, you're a digital artist. How about you would, just create more art. Maybe you can also exhibit the arts. Maybe you can do different things with that. And I have never thought about this really. I thought like, I'm just having fun. I just really want to create these pieces and just have them online. And that's what started to happen. Actually, people started to ask me about creating something for them. So I got clients where I created digital art pieces for them, or I created specific AI collections for conferences. Or right now I'm in collaboration with a fantastic organization based in the US, Museum of Ideas, and a space tech company, LifeShip, when we basically created the whole collection of 50 pieces for the Museum of Ideas. Ideas are going to be sent to the moon together with my art pieces, each one for each idea. And I really love that because, from something that I didn't expect would bring me absolutely anything at all, on the way, I just saw that there is just so much more potential out of this. And I'm very grateful for that, I discovered different tools and they really helped me to grow my business. But also that's the reason why I'm encouraging really everyone to just be the early adopter and just to go and try these things out. Because as someone said very beautifully, AI will not take your job, but people who know how to use AI tools will. And I feel like that's very interesting as well as a perspective of how fast the technology is being developed, but also how rapidly the changes are happening on a daily basis,
Yeah, I love what you said, and I love your art. It's really incredible. For everybody who is listening or watching, please check her art. It's really, really amazing. And you said something very important. I think that's a very important message for this interview. It's like when you start doing something from your heart and doing it for fun and really enjoy it, and this is your soul calling, you just know it, and a lot of opportunities are going to be presented to you. One of your opportunities is to create art for a museum, which is amazing. Congratulations on that. And I want to talk about LinkedIn, how it affected your business the last 2 years.
It is, for me personally, also professionally, is a game changer, if you wish. And because I know that, like basically I got clients from LinkedIn, so I know things resonate with people, but I also got enough appreciation for my work that let's say it keeps me ongoing with these things, because of course we could kind of close these platforms anytime. So like, okay, goodbye, I'm done with this. But I feel like, again, for me, it's both. It's writing about things I'm passionate about, writing about the lessons, writing about, different experiences, but also, again, that's for me a part of the healing process. And because I'm such a huge fan of creativity, creative skills and methodologies, and I have developed also my own creative methodologies over the last years, I just know the power of creation itself. And that's why, I will continue writing on whatever platform, or even if I stop writing and publishing on LinkedIn, I will continue just writing for myself, because I know how powerful is it as a creative tool for me personally, for my personal and professional growth, but most importantly for me, for my personal growth. And with LinkedIn specifically, what I realized is that it gave me the access to audiences and to people I actually had no idea even existed, if you wish. So for me, last year we ran a summit in Fiji, and I connected with so many people on the islands. It's incredible. And they're all on LinkedIn, and we are in touch. And I had also discussion about different projects with one gentleman who is right now in Fiji doing different projects. And it's just incredible how much it can just open you doors to different things you even didn't consider existing. And the same is for me right now with the space project I have with LifeShip, where we collect wishes to be sent to the moon, where basically LinkedIn opened me so many doors to the space industry, because again, I reach out to different people in the industry, also because I'm searching for collaborations for this particular project. It's just incredible how fast it can really go. And yes, maybe there are two parts actually we need to remember. One part is what is happening on the platform itself. So the posts that we are creating, they might or they might not resonate with people, but still what I suggest is just keep on going, keep on creating and posting these things. But the other part is more like behind the scenes, which is all of the DMs, all of the conversations I have had over the last years with people. Then, Zoom calls I have out because of the conversations that I started on LinkedIn, or because someone came to me and we started a conversation. So it went from creating the newsletter, creating digital art pieces, to running workshops for companies because someone approached me on LinkedIn, creating strategies for people, advising people, doing so many different things. That really enabled me to, first of all, to find my own voice at the end, but also as a part of this huge life transformation I went through. I just, realized also for myself all over again that it really doesn't matter how it lands with people. It matters that it matters to you. So if it matters to you, just do it. And I have this bias of action, just continue creating and continue putting these things out there to the world, because you never know really how much things you are doing resonate with people, even though from the outside perspective, from the number of likes and comments, it might not resonate with many people, but from the behind the scenes, it resonates with lots of them. That's my experience, at least.
Thank you, Ivona, for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us today. And for everybody else who is listening or watching, we just want to give a beautiful message. Do what you love, and money will follow. Connections will follow. People will resonate with your message, share your message from the heart, and do things that make you happy. And thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for this inspiring interview, Ivona. I'm so grateful for you, and thank you so much once again. Before we wrap up this interview, I would love to ask you to share more about where people can find you.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you for your time as well, and thank you for asking these very thoughtful questions. You can definitely find me on LinkedIn. That's very easy. You can find me also on my platform, creativeswitzerland.com. And if you wish, also on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm not very present there. So if you would love to connect with me, LinkedIn is the best place.
Thank you so much for being here. Everybody else who is listening to this, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for spending your time with us. And until next time, be brave, shine your light, because the world does need that love and light inside of you more than ever. I'm sending you lots of love and big hug. Bye for now.